Great to have you on board. It is June 25th, the year of our Lord 2025. So much is happening in this country. We want to unpack the happenings that are building up on this particular day. I am with Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, great to see you.
Thank you.
You've seen what is happening in this country, and yes, many would want to question, Prof, did we really have to get in the first place? And particularly for a president, did he miss an opportunity to address the concerns of the Gen Z, most of whom today are on the streets?
I addressed him yesterday. Sadly, I think our leaders don't quite listen. Yeah.
Just how
maybe
much...
they are busy, you can't say. Yeah.
But some would wonder, the president is someone who is certainly surrounded by individuals around him in the caliber of advisors or in the umbrella of advisors. You would have thought that by now they would have told him, the president, you are naked, address this or that. Do you even blame those around the president in the first place?
I think, no, the buck stops with the president. He's the one who has been made president, elected president. These others are not president. Yeah. It is him, not anybody else. Yeah, you can listen to people, you can take what they are saying, you can ignore, you can, you know. But at the end of the day, it is you.
So it starts with the president developing the requisite capacity to listen, if indeed he wants changes to happen.
Yeah, or even just act unilaterally, but do good things. There's nothing wrong with acting without listening, but you do good things. Yeah.
Clearly, we are seeing police on the streets. And just a day ago, we saw the Minister for Interior really commend them for what they are doing out here. And this is what actually he had to say about the Kenya Police Service, that we are currently seeing the best police force in the continent. And further, he goes on and says that in the UK, if anyone tweeted or posted of anything to do with, say, visiting the Buckingham Palace, 10 Downing Street or Parliament, nobody will wait for them to come to the streets. They will be picked up from their own houses and they'll be charged. If an American citizen in any state says they will invade the White House, the Secret Service will pick them up from their home. It is only in Kenya where citizens say this and they still walk scot-free, and even when they are taken to court, they are released. If you look at the comments from Kipchumba Murkomen, do you say that this analogy is invited here in Kenya's setup?
The only right thing, correct thing, Murkomen has said that we have good police. Our police are some of the best in the world. That's the only good thing I said, and that's correct. Everything else is absolute nonsense.
Even if you look at the conduct of the police when it comes to suppressing this protest, you still say they are above the rest.
Does Murkomen know how many people go to the White House? How many people make noise at the White House? He should be informed, first of all.
So then again, Prof, there seemingly is this agenda from the government to really cover up even police mistakes when it comes to handling protesters. Do you think that there is need for us to even streamline how protests are facilitated and even the place of police in this demonstration?
The politicians must know that times have changed. We live in different times. We are dealing with a different generation. That they must know. But from a practical level also, we will need to retool our police, to retrain our police. We'll need to look at entry requirements when we are recruiting police and the sort of training they get. That is obvious. How to handle demonstrations, how to handle crowds. The police must move away from the old ways of doing things. Yeah. It's also not easy. You've seen even in America. It's not easy to handling crowds is not a small matter. It's difficult. But we need to train our police. But we have a good police force. It's the leaders who mess the whole thing. Yeah.
So in the event that we see more Kenyans dying under the hands of the police, and especially those...
Say God forbid.
God forbid.
Yes.
Those who are harboring dissenting voices or calling out on the government mistakes, would you feel that we, even as a country, or the president himself, Ruto, probably we are looking at a situation whereby it's only a death away or an inch away from prosecution at ICC?
Obviously, if you do these bad things, if you commit atrocities, it's not just the ICC. You can't sit pretty. Things will go bad for you at some point. At some point. I hold the view, which is a belief actually, that it may not be scientific, but I have come to conclude that whenever you take away human life, you can never be the same again.
Really?
Yes, yeah. even under lawful implementation or prosecution, those who do the hangman's job, they are never quite good people. Why do you think trauma is a problem with soldiers?
PTSD.
Yeah. Your father was a soldier, so you know the terms. You're calling it?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes. Why do you think?
PTSD.
And yet, they are killing in the line of duty. That's their work. When you are hired as a soldier or a policeman, you know you have been hired to kill. And yet when you kill, it haunts you.
True.
You are traumatized. It's simple that human life should not be touched. Anybody, the people I have seen in life, who in one way or the other have killed, they are never the same. Even leaders, when they commission the killings of others, they are never the same. You can never be yourself in life after you purposefully, if you go out of your way, plan to have somebody's child killed, you can never be yourself. Never. Yes. Blood will always follow you. And the holy books, read them. All of them, they say the same. Human blood is hot. It will always follow you. So why would you preside over the killing of human beings? It's never a good thing to do.
A while back, Prof, some would argue that foreign envoys in Kenya would oftentimes stand high on principles and not really much about political correctness. But if we look at even the silence, should I say, from our foreign envoys in Kenya, do you render them mute of malice, especially when it comes to these Gen Zs calling for accountability and how their voice has been met by the government?
But I thought last year they issued a statement, a communique.
Some would say it was too little, too late.
Well, you know again, let's not think foreigners will come and sort out our problems. They have their own problems.
Really?
And they are pursuing their own interests. How would you antagonize a country from which you are benefiting? So they can only give token support. How do they antagonize the Kenyan government? And the Kenyan government has given itself to be exploited by those foreign countries. How will they help you push your government?
We can say US speak louder about this issue.
How?
Harder.
How? They want their bases here. They want things here. They want to bring their businessmen here. They want to exploit us. They can't punch the government. So it's Kenyan people to push for a good government. Yes.
Oftentimes, Prof, you've argued.
Foreigners may assist.
Sure.
But they can't do your job.
The job is ours.
Yes. Yeah.
When it comes to the church in Kenya, and clearly the church certainly is the conscience of the state, and you'd wonder, if you look at pronouncements, say from the Kenya Catholic Bishops' Conference, Union per se, and even many other clergymen out here, would you say they're now trying to relieve that spirit indeed that the church is the conscience of the state when it comes to what we are witnessing, even today on June 25th?
They haven't quite lived up to expectation. The church is a pale shadow of itself. There was a time the church was the voice, the conscience of society. When people like Okulu spoke, Gitari, Alexander Muge, Ndingi Mwananzeki, those were the days when the voice of the church, Timothy Njoya, Njenga, the church had a voice. The church had a place in society. Today, the church, everything has become transactional, even for the church.
At the altar of human rights?
It's unfortunate, but that's it. Church people also want big churches. They want big donations. They want to drive good cars. They want all the good things that each one of us wants. So everything has become transactional. And the voice of the church has gone down. The church has lost its voice.
Even at the price of human life?
Yeah. They are not coming out strongly. They are only lone voices. Bishop Muheria, for example.
A lone voice in the wilderness?
Yes. And then this guy of the one who was now knocked to go to the UK, what was his name? All Saints Cathedral, you know. Yeah.
Canon Wainaina?
I think, yeah, that one. So you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest, They're just in Mboga too.
Commercial intercessors.
Whatever they are called. Call them what you want. But they are not, you can't feel them. Civil society is also dead. They're in the pursuit of riches more than anything. They want money more than anything else. There were days when civil society was civil society.
Not about getting a few dollars?
The risks they took to face people like Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta, especially Daniel Arap Moi. When it was too risky to speak, they spoke. They were counted. But today, I think the world has become too transactional. You can't blame them.
We can't blame them.
Everybody thinking of where to go and stay in a good neighborhood, what car to drive, where to take your children to school. That's what everybody's thinking about. Yeah.
Finally, Prof, if you look at the case of our politicians really using political guns to go against those in the opposition sides, and even to tame down, say, this demonstration from the Gen Zs, would you say that these politicians themselves are sort of feeding a snake, that in the long run, if they cannot finance it, it's going to come back and bite them?
But we have gone through it. That's why we created the Mungiki, we created the Talibans, we created all these things, Baghdad boys, we have all these people, we are the ones. Politicians are the ones who created them. The gangs in Haiti were created by politicians.
At some point it can turn on them?
Not at some point, always. Always, all the time.
Ain't sustainable?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, violence and the instrument of violence must be institutionalized. That's why the state is supposed to have the monopoly of violence. Because that violence is institutionalized and only brought to bear on the wrongdoers who want to harm society. So you have the military to protect the people from external harm. They have violence, instruments of violence. The police to ensure there's law and order, because there will be transgressors, there will be people who will break the law and make life difficult for others. The police have been given violence, institutional violence, to deal with such a people. When you take the violence and the instruments of violence and give them to groups like those ones, you are courting disaster.
Courting disaster?
They are not trained, they don't know how violence must be. They have no limits, they are the law unto themselves. They are crude. So it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Finally, Prof, now looking at the events on the streets, and now you're seeing the people versus the police and some few goons therein, what do you think is Kenya's international outlook?
You know, I was telling I was doing some interviews somewhere, and I was telling people, you cannot feature on CNN if you are doing good things. You cannot feature on international media for doing good things, for progress, for development. Only when Africans are slaughtering each other can you feature on those media houses. They interview me all the time. You see someone outside here waiting for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
But only when there's a negative thing happening.
If you tell them something good, they even argue with you. If you tell them there was not much thing, Nairobi had just a few skirmishes, they argue with you and they don't even report.
Or Galana Kulalu is working.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that. They want to see Africans as savages. That's the news. You are dying from hunger. There's so much poverty in Kibra, Kawangware. That's what they want. They want to see you savages killing each other using crude weapons.
Why?
That makes news on CNN. That's what they want. And that's what we are giving them. That's what confirms to them that an African is not a human being.
Who is an African?
We're just animals. That's the image we are giving them. And that's what is selling there. And we foolishly allow them to portray that. And our children begin to believe that there's something wrong with Africans, genetically. So you make your children grow up knowing that we are useless people. We are not human beings. They want to be white. They bleach themselves. They are dying to go to Australia, Canada, New Zealand. Dying literally. They can do anything to go to America. Anything. There's not a single thing a Kenyan boy or girl would not do to go to America or Australia. Because you made them think we are animals. We are savages.
I wonder what they think of our president when he makes those foreign trips.
When you are there, not just the president. The only reason why they don't tell you are an animal is because they are exploiting you.
Even for the president?
I'm saying when you are an African, I didn't say the president, when you are an African and in a nice tie and suit, they just see this a monkey in a suit. But they can't tell you because their existence depends on them exploiting Africa. So if it wasn't for business, for interest, they could tell us stuff.
Go back to your
I'm going to
country.
tell you suit. Oh, Navana Magan suit na we ni nyani.
That is how bad
That's
our
how bad
image
it
is out there.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
Well, there you have it. That has been our conversation with Professor Herman Manyora today on the 25th day of June 2025. So much is happening in this country. We really pray that Kenya gets better and that it doesn't run to the dogs. Until we get to do this again on Richard Mwenje exclusive, do enjoy the rest of your viewing.